Hello my lovely gamers, my name is Jonal and today we're taking a look at how to double jump or when to double jump as Genji. This is one of the most frequently asked questions that I normally get, and it's kind of hard to answer, so I'll try to break this down, that when you should do it, when you shouldn't do it, and kind of also why. And it's a very kind of weird thing to talk about because it's very situational and I can't cover every situation in the game. That's not physically possible. So essentially I'll try to explain why, and then you also have to use your own brain and own logic to understand the concept. So with no further ado, let's just jump into it. Now let's take a look at when you should jump, right? Quote unquote should jump. And essentially the first one, and this is the one that I think is the most important, that the most constant one, is when you peek a corner. Not when you peek a reinhardt shield. If you stand behind a reinhardt shield, you're safe normally, right? No need to double jump. But when you peek a corner, you should normally double jump. And the reason for this is that it's harder to hit you. The enemy team has a harder time hitting you. If you just peek, if you just do like normal peeking, normal strafing, you are a constant. You are constantly at the same altitude, unless there's a hill. You know, in general, you are at the same altitude, right? You are the same hitbox. Your head will normally be at the same, around the same height, and it's very easy to kill you. On top of that, you are on the same level as every other single DPS on your team, meaning if there's a Kree that just peeked there, you are kind of just taking his spot, and you can get very easily sniped by something like a random arrow or a full charge Zenyatta, or in general, you're just taking a shit ton of damage for no real good reason, because you can double jump. And this is where double jumping is amazing, because it gives you so many other options if you think about it as a grid, right? If you just strafe, you're just a line. There's only this kind of height and length that you can pick, and that's the only where the enemy team have to aim. They just have to aim in that area, and they have a chance of hitting you. When you jump, that increases your altitude, making the grid that you are kind of the box that you can be inside, the possibility of them having to aim somewhere in that box, it's much bigger. And this makes that you should always, or most of the time, always peak as like double jumping. Of course, wall climbing up will give you even higher altitude, and you can like drop down from a ledge and then climb up and then poke and all these kind of things. But in general, this is really, really good. Of course, if you want to get hit, for example, you're deflecting, then maybe you shouldn't double jump at that moment. You should peek with deflect and then peek back in. And the other one where I think is like almost a must that you should double jump is when you're really, really close to someone. Like, for example, Soldier 76, right, as I'm using in the examples in the background. When you're close to someone, it's really hard for them to hit you. In general, close quarter are hard for people to hit. And the reason for that is that Soldier 76 is known to be good at medium range, right? Because in that range, it's very, very comfortable to keep your crosshair moving onto the target. It's very easy to track your opponent. And that's because when they move, it's not a big movement on your screen. It's a tiny little movement that happens fast, but it's kind of tiny because it's far away. If it's super far away, it's just hard to in general like lock onto. So medium distance is like the nice sweet spot where their movement when they strafe, it's not as drastic as when they're really close. And when they're really close, Genji, when he double jumps, he can legitimately jump right over you. Doing that, you have to do a 180, and then he is moving a little bit to the left, so that 180 should have been a 142, and 142 rotations are kind of weird, but he already moved, and then also you moved, and maybe you didn't calculate that he was gonna move to the right, you thought he was gonna move to the left, so you compensated to the wrong side, and that way you sometimes don't even see the Genji. For a long period of time, when he is close to you, he can just jump around you, and until you manage to like you strafe out of it, so there's a little bit distance. This way you can finally get your crosshair on him and aim at him, and it's super hard to kill you. On top of that, it's super easy to land headshot because, well, you're jumping at a good altitude, looking down upon him, and well, on top of his head is his head. So on top of him is his head, and therefore it's super easy to just land really nice like headshots very consistently. On top of that, when you dash past him, you dash straight onto him, so you can dash, rotate melee, and in general, it's just amazing to double jump over people when you're close range, making it much harder for them to hit you. Now, I've not talked about how jumping makes me less accurate, less hard to hit, but it decreases your accuracy. That's very obvious, right? When you're jumping, you have less accuracy because there's much more in your brain that you need to compensate for. If you're just strafing and he's just strafing, it's very, very easy to land easy shots. But when you're double jumping, and ignore my shitty aim, this was early in the morning, so I aimed really bad right there. But in general, when you're double jumping a lot, you have way more that you need to compensate for. You have to compensate for his strafing and the fact that you're both increasing and lowering your altitude at different times, and you're going to one of the sides, and it's weird. So while you jump, you normally have less accuracy. So if no one is focusing you, no one is shooting you, there's no risk of you dying, don't double jump. There's no reason. If you cannot take damage, if you're not going to take damage, then just increase your maximum damage output. And that's why when I play, you a lot of times see me, if there's a team fight, I don't double jump. I might just run around on the ground like a normal DPS, because it's so much easier to land headshot. My DPS output is so much higher, and it's so much bigger because I can land way more headshot. It's consistent tracking. I don't have to compensate for my own jumping, and if I'm not taking any damage, if no one is shooting at me, there's no reason for me to double jump whatsoever. However, double jump doesn't make you invulnerable. Double jump does not always make you hard to hit, and that's very important to understand. When you are going towards someone is at distance, you want to close this distance, but there's nothing to hide behind, no shields, nothing. How do you do it? And yeah, of course, deflect is a nice tool to close the gap, because you can move about 2 seconds freely without taking damage. And Swift Strike is also a thing. But in general, what you want to do is that you don't want to double jump straight towards him, because if you just double jump towards him, you do the same movement over and over and over again, and you're very fixed. When you're in air, when you do the double jump, you're very fixed. You are stuck in this, well, flying position, right? And it's up to a certain level and down again, and up to a certain level and down again. Same movement with very little possibility for strafing, moving sideways. If you run just flat on the ground, first of all, Genji is super easy to hit. You can do like strafing, so left, right, 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 left, right. And on top of that, also crouch spam, so you lower your altitude. But then you're doing it very, very standard. That's what a normal DPS would do. That's why you should combine these two. So you should, when you move towards him, you do a little bit double jumping, then you might stop, do a little bit to the right, crouch, double jump, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, crouch to the left, double jump towards the right. And this way you're kind of making yourself very, very unpredictable by, first of all, strafing on the ground and crouch spamming, and also increasing your altitude. And then you drop down, and then you strafe again, and then you increase your altitude, and you continue this unpredictable pattern, which makes it super hard for them to hit you, and very easy for you to get close to them. So guys, I hope this guys helps. In general, what you just want to do, if you peek, well, double jump. There's no need else. If there's no need for you to double jump, don't double jump, because you will, well, lower your DPS output in general. And when you're close, double jump around the guy so he cannot track you. It's super easy. And then when you are closing the gap straight forward or whatever, do a combination of double jumping and in general strafing, crouch spamming. I can make a video on strafing if people want that. It's very, very important that you can be not hit as much. Essentially, that's a good way to win 1v1s and not take as much damage as your opponent. But besides that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My hard disk, my old hard disk, got corrupted and totally, no, it didn't corrupt, it actually just died. Like, physically, it died. It was an HDD hard disk, so it said boom. And in general, that does that I have no of my old video files, which is kind of sucks. So, very sorry if some of the video clips will be repeated sooner. I lost some of the videos, stuff that I was supposed to use in other videos, specific footage that I had spent money on, such as opening loot boxes. I was thinking about making a comparison between the old and the new loot boxes. I had all the stats written down. I had like footage of it and stuff like that, and I lost all that, which really sucks, because I was like 50 loot boxes times 2. I don't know how much money that is. That's a lot of money, especially for a student. So that kind of sucks. So I'm very sorry if that will affect this shit. On top of that, I had to use a whole day of team practice on getting a new computer up and running, or getting new hard disk, install new Windows and stuff like that. So I'm very sorry if my upload speed will be a little bit weird right now, because we have the tournament and we lost some days of scrimming. So I have to kind of take that back, on top of that university and shit. So very sorry for that, guys. Thank you for the amazing support on the channel. We had 2.6k subscribers just now. I'm very, very thankful for all that guys do. Thank you for the amazing Discord community that we have. Thank you for the people that support me on Twitter. In general, guys, I hope you guys have a great gaming experience. As always, guys, my name is Jonal, and keep the enemy in your crosshair.